Florida man stories include incidents that involve something like a man throwing an alligator through the window of a Wendy's, to another man purchasing $30,000 worth of turtles, to another man eating a person's face off after ingesting bath salts. Those are all real Florida man headlines, and these are the type of stories that Florida man basically falls into. So if you haven't heard about Florida man, I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to tell you the history, the background, how this started, and why this is even a thing. So let's get into it. Florida man actually started as a meme that popped up on Twitter all the way back in 2013. It was _ Florida man. So this account popped up and they posted a meme that said Florida man does blah, 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 something crazy. And ever since then, it took off and people post these stories saying Florida man does X, Y, and Z basically daily, and they're outrageous. They're so outrageous that even though I know they're real, sometimes I question if I'm living in an alternate reality because they don't sound like they could even be real. Like, who throws an alligator through a Wendy's? I always thought this was like had to do with literally one Florida man. It doesn't. It makes it seem like that, but all it is just a Florida person who does something crazy. It's not just one person, just to clear that up. And fun fact, there's actually a Florida man story for your birthday. So all you have to do is go on Google, type in your birthday followed by Florida man. On my birthday, I Googled it. It is Florida man was a man whose remains were found in a canal in Florida. His hands were removed and never recovered. That's nice. That's good to commemorate my birthday. But yeah, look yours up and I'm sure you'll find something similar. Maybe crazier, maybe less crazy. It's probably just as crazy or worse. So this started as a meme, but the thing is like, I was wondering, I was like, why is there no Pennsylvania man or New York man or Louisiana man? Because crazy stuff happens in every state. I think people assume Florida is so crazy because of this, but it doesn't have to do with Florida being more crazy than these other states. It really just has to do with something called the Sunshine Laws. And those laws are what basically has dictated this news being able to be put out in Florida and not other states. So first of all, this kind of goes back all the way to 1845 when Florida first became a state. And it started to be known as these like uncovered swamps and all this land by the ocean. And so people were flocking to Florida because it was just a really untapped territory where other states were much more developed then. And so people were like flocking to the state. And so the other states in the US were like, hey, I don't like that. I don't want our economies to shrink and for Florida to blow up. So what they did is they decided to put out all these hit pieces on Florida, making it sound like it was this like crazy, wild, wild west place that nobody would want to move to. And they called them the anti-Florida campaigns, and it was done all over. They would really like ramp up how dangerous Florida was. Like they would say that it's way too dangerous, there's unsafe drinking water, there's alligators that just roam all the land, they'll just come up and attack you. And they just were really trying to deter people. But despite that, Florida still blew up. Miami became this huge hub, it still is, for business, water sports, tourism, etc. So it didn't fully work. Okay, but going back to the Sunshine Laws, basically this goes all the way back to 1967, and it was right after the Watergate scandal. And in reaction to this, states were like, okay, hold on, we got to make everything way more transparent because people already don't trust the government, they don't trust their news. Like, Watergate was this massive scandal and people were starting to get skeptical. So they passed these Sunshine Laws, which basically allowed people to access the public domain and have more access to information. So they put these Sunshine Laws out. However, after 1967, there were still some privacy measures put in place. It was more transparent, but at the same time, most states were like, okay, we're gonna put a limit as to like, you can't see every single thing in the public domain because it's gonna make us look bad. The thing with Florida is that they decided not to amend their Sunshine Laws after 1967, after Watergate. So theirs was like fully open. There were no restrictions and you can literally search anything and anything can be found in Florida. They're like the least restrictive privacy laws out there in the United States. So that's why you have all these crazy stories. You can just Google and see a man throwing an alligator through a Wendy's, or clawing someone's face off, or stealing a car and stealing a baby and then bringing the baby back and then re-stealing the car, or driving an ambulance away from a hospital because the wait time was too long. These are all real stories. So that's why you see all this crazy news coming out of Florida, because we never amended our Sunshine Laws. And these other states have a little bit more privacy, making Florida look absolutely insane. Also, this was like a gold mine, and it still is for journalists or anyone looking for news, because you have all these crazy stories and it's like perfect for the craziest headlines ever that are gonna get attention. And that's why when the Florida man trend popped up, it's just kept going, because who doesn't want to read these crazy news stories? They're not put out in other states. You can really only see this stuff in Florida. To wrap stuff up, I'm gonna give you some of the best Florida man headlines of 2023. It's officially the beginning of 2024, and just to do a little celebratory roundup of 2023, I'm gonna give you those headlines. Okay, number one, Florida man was taken into custody in October for driving a truck painted similar to a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol vehicle, but instead read Booty Patrol. And if you look at the truck, you would think it was Customs and Border Patrol, because it looks exactly the same color, same style, same pattern, just says Booty Patrol. So I guess these guys were going around looking for some booties. Okay, number two, Florida woman tries to bring 4-foot emotional support snake onto a plane. I wouldn't do that. But at the same time, it's like, maybe that animal really, the snake supported her. I don't know. When I was little, I had this pet snake. This is so creepy. I don't know why I'm telling you this. When my parents, it was a boa constrictor. It's funny because I'm terrified of snakes now, but when I was little, I loved them. I thought they were super cool and wanted to like cuddle with my snake. And it was big. It was probably like, actually around the same, probably at like 4 feet, because it ended up getting about 8 feet. And so when my parents would put me to bed, it was in a big terrarium in my room. And I took the snake out and I decided to cuddle with it. Yeah, I don't like thinking about that, but I guess I felt emotionally supported by that snake. So I guess maybe I understand what this woman's saying, but just, I think in airplanes, maybe don't bring your snakes on an airplane. There's literally a movie called Snakes on a Plane, but it's like a horror movie, horror comedy, and snakes break out, take over the plane. So I'd say snake and plane, two things you kind of keep apart. Let's not do that. Okay, number three, a wanted Florida woman was found hiding inside of her couch. Like deep inside of the couch. So they're like looking through the house. To be honest, it's kind of genius. I always think of these scenarios that if I was like, had to hide from like, home invaders or like, the end of the world, and somehow like people are coming to attack me. I think I watch too many horror movies, but I always think of like where I would hide in my house. And to be honest, this isn't bad. I don't know how you'd fully fit into the couch. Maybe she cut out like a little thing, put herself in there. I'm not gonna lie though, I give this woman a lot of props. I think it's really smart. Okay, number four, this is a good one. A Florida man shuts down roadway for 10 hours while throwing meth and exposing his genitals. That's right, that's real. For 10 hours. I don't know how you go on, actually I do. I know how you do it for that long. You take meth, because meth makes you apparently act like you're just going and going and going. And so I guess he was like taking the meth, showing his genitals, taking more meth, showing his genitals again. Again, kind of impressive for that period of time. That's a lot of hours to be doing that. But yeah, that is a real headline, 2023. Last but not least, this is my favorite. We got Florida man demands all bottles of Viagra during a pharmacy robbery. So a guy who really wanted Viagra went into a pharmacy and held it up and only wanted the Viagra, nothing else. Not the painkillers, not the what else is there? Muscle relaxers, I don't know, but just the Viagra. That guy really wanted a boner, and I don't think he got it because he's in jail. Okay, so now you know about Florida man. We will be back with some more Florida news, some more world news, some weird stuff, and we're exploring for now all things Florida. Yeah, let me know what your favorite Florida man headlines are, if you have any, or if you've ever seen any, or go look up your birthday. Let me know what your birthday said. It's probably something really disturbing. All right, see you guys later.